topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Hi, this is Shelby Wagner, a host of Learning to Dance in the Rain, and my guest today is Jerry Wright, the dance instructor and director of musical shows and choirs and so on. And we're going to be talking about a favorite subject, I think, for us. It's called Dancing with God. Welcome, Jerry. Glad to have you here today.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Go ahead.
You know, I'm an old guy, as I told you before, Shelby, that I love life and I love God and family and singing and dancing. And I'm married to the love of my life, Trudy. We live in Three Rivers, Michigan, and we have raised a multitude of a blended family of 8 children and plus in-laws, children-in-laws. And we have 14 grandchildren and 8 great-grandchildren.
Wow, that's quite a family, Jerry. How long have you been married?
Well, Trudy and I have been married for 52 years, going on 53 years.
Congratulations. Wow, that is quite an amazing time. How did you meet your wife?
Well, I met my wife directing a show called Sound of Music, and she played Maria.
Oh.
And I was the director of the show, and we got acquainted during the show and better acquainted after the show.
And it must have worked to be lasting for 52 years, I'd say.
It has worked very well.
So what is really important to you with this life that you've led?
Well, let me say that Trudy and I are Christians, and we're celebrating life on earth, while at the same time experiencing both the secular and sacred influences, which is in everybody's life. And in various situations, we've experienced this life, music, dance, church, and careers. Like she was a Christian camp director, and she was also a administrative assistant for a college in the athletic department, and as an accomplished vocalist and performer herself. That's how we came together, because I've been an actor and a dancer and interested in music and everything all my life. And also, I've got to say, the reason I've lived this long is because of her cooking.
Oh, she's a good cook, huh?
She is the head chef.
Oh, that's good. Very good. Head chef, I think you called her.
Yes.
Is it at home mainly with the family like that? You just need to, I guess you learn to be an excellent cook.
Well, yeah, she comes by it over many years, but she's always provided good food and good companionship, and it's just been a wonderful marriage and a wonderful life and a Christian life. And I think that's important to the title of our show today, which is Dancing with God. And I have been in this for more than 60 years of dancing with God, so to speak. But I received this thing in modern day, as I got older, even though I had been dancing all my life and trying to follow a Christian path, one day online, this is after computers came in, I saw this flyer or message, and it was called Dancing with God, and which I've been doing, as I said, for more than 60 years. And I have tried to temper my life to dancing with God as a result of this flyer. That if you allow me to read the message on that flyer, flower, I'm not peddling anything.
That's okay.
If you allow me to read from that flyer, it will pinpoint how closely related dancing is to life and life with God. And I didn't write this, but I could have, because it's right on spot for what I want to use for this program. And
did you want to read that now?
Yes.
I showed this, I don't know, if we're going to talk about guidance, and he's going to mention the rest. God, you and I dance, and that's guidance. So go ahead and read your.
Okay, allow me then. Here is
Okay.
the reading. Dancing with God. When I meditated on the word guidance, I kept seeing dance at the end of the word. I remember reading that doing God's will is a lot like dancing. When two people try to lead, nothing feels right. The movement doesn't flow with the music, and everything is quite uncomfortable and jerky. When one person realizes that and lets the other lead, both bodies begin to flow with the music. One gives gentle clues and cues, perhaps with a nudge to the back or by pressing lightly in one direction or another. It's as if two become one body, moving beautifully. Now you can see how that ties in with life, and especially married life. Who is the leader in the family?
Did you always hear, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy?
That's a good one. I don't know that I've ever heard that
Oh,
one
really?
before, but it's really quite the point, because in teaching dancing all these years, I've always started my classes out by saying the man is the leader and the wife is the follower. So you got to have a leader and a follower in dance. But with that reading that I just did, the leader is really Jesus and God.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no doubt about it, between God and me, or God and my wife, God is the leader. But in dance, the man is the leader and the woman is the follower. And that does tie in somewhat with scriptures, that the man will be the leader of the house.
Well, it says that, doesn't it?
It does, yes.
Yeah.
Pastor would know probably more offhand what that actual scripture is.
Well, we'll have to ask him if he gets this computer fixed before the end of the show.
So,
but can I break in a little bit up in here where about that woman following? You know, I think it's very good for the man to realize that he is a leader here. He is the one. And I wish more men would like to dance. It seems to be, I go to the dances and you see a lot of men sitting there just watching. And if you ask them to dance, you know, oh, I'm not very good at it. I'd, well, who cares? Come on and dance with me anyway. We get out there and say, well, gee, you're pretty good. You know, I don't see anything wrong with the, you know, with your dancing. I think you're better than you think you are. And I think that's important for the man to realize that you are better than what you think you are. And especially if you're following Jesus, if you're following the Lord, trying to do what his plan is for you, if you can find that out, it's gives you some more confidence, more fun. It's a happier life if you're out there doing things than it is if you're sitting on the couch watching TV all the time.
Let me jump in here a minute on that point of the men not dancing as much or being in favor as much of dance as the ladies are. If the men knew how many single lady dancers there were, they would probably be standing in line themselves to dance and enjoy and learn how to dance, because it brings along a lot of companionship, and the relationship in dancing and the relationship to life is brought out in this next paragraph from Dancing with God.
Okay, let's hear that.
So it's the dance takes surrender, willingness, and attentiveness from one person, and gentle guidance and skill from the other. You see how that relates to men and women and pairs and couples? My eyes drew back to that word guidance that you held up. When I saw G, I thought of God, followed by you and I. God, you, and I dance. So that's the message. God, you, and I dance. As I lowered my head, I became willing to trust that I would get guidance about my life once again. I became willing to let God lead.
And can we talk about that for a few minutes? Letting God lead. Do you, if God were to choose a dance for us to do, what do you think that might be? Any ideas?
I don't know. There's a lot of songs in the Bible. As you get older, your memory fails.
Well, the Songs of Solomon, the whole book is, that we think of them as poems, right? But it says Songs of Solomon.
Well, and the Psalms themselves are a lot
mm-hmm.
of music where you sing the Psalms.
Mm-hmm. The Lord is my shepherd. We sing that. The Lord's Prayer. A lot of different ones are in there. Yeah.
And there's the Lord of the Dance is the one I was trying to remember.
Oh, yes.
The Lord of the Dance. Yes. And that's a huge choir number.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't really mean dancing necessarily as a couple. It means dancing with God and following the Lord of the dance.
And the Lord of the dance is Jesus, isn't it? Would you say?
Well,
because that song is Jesus's life, right up from the beginning and of his ministry, right through to the end, where he was crucified and rose again. And I believe the dance there is the teachings of God, what he wants us to do, and our activities that we do, that we live. And that's why in my name of my book and my show, Learning to Dance in the Rain, people said, well, I don't dance. I said, well, dance is anything you choose to do, any activity that you choose to do. And maybe it's something that you thought about, you'd like to do this and haven't had an opportunity to do it for. Like dance. I was always playing the piano and singing and, accompanying choirs and that. And then as I got a little bit older, I got my music degree and I started directing choirs, But so that was my dance. I taught elementary school. That was a dance. And at the time, I didn't have time to do your kind of dance, the ballroom dancing. You hear the rock and roll music, and I can't sit still. I don't think anybody can. And my husband, he didn't want to dance. I might get one dance out of him, a slow dance on the floor at a wedding, and that's the only time. So when he passed away and I moved back to Michigan and got involved then with learning to line dance. I was at a wedding before. I would see the people get out on the floor and that boot scoot and boogie. And I thought, well, that doesn't look so difficult. And with the line dancing, I thought, well, you don't have to have a partner, so you can get out and just dance with everybody. So I started learning to do that, But that's kind of what got me through my grief journey, was learning to line dance. And then all of a sudden I met Rick, and you don't dance, do you, Rick? And yeah, I do, he said. And I thought, oh my, that was one of the top of the list, was a guy that would dance, And then we had been dating about 3 months when we discovered you were teaching ballroom dancing up in Three Rivers.
The Commission on Aging.
Yeah, and I had Ruth in here a few weeks ago talking about the activities that they provide and the benefits and so on. So I said, well, let's go up there. So we went up there. He had taken some Arthur Murray lessons way back 30, 40 years ago. And his wife didn't like to dance either. So then all of a sudden we were brought together, and we showed up for your class. And wow, that's a real dance, yeah, ballroom dancing, but it's not as difficult as I thought it would be.
Well, there's many kind of dances. And in ballroom dancing, there's many kind of dances.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a list. You could go through them.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as of our listening audience is concerned, when you go to wedding receptions, usually there's, ball in the jack and the hokey pokey and the bunny hop, and
mm-hmm.
The list goes on. There's always a lot of dances. And
right.
There's the singing, group singing, and audience participation, and music and dance. And you mentioned music in your life, and you're an accomplished pianist, but music was a huge part of both Trudy and my lives, and it leads to so much more than music. It just broadens your horizons, and you can spread your wings, and when you dance with God, it isn't literally getting in a dance position. It's relating to the value of dancing, that you look at it from the side of the view of God and what God, over the period of my life, I've had many criticisms from society. Because there's a lot of people that frown on dancing, and they think that it's maybe of the devil. I don't know, but I've faced a lot of criticism, and even a lot of churches don't believe in dancing, regardless of the scriptures and the gospel tunes and all the music. They don't identify to that, and dancing is just like life. There's people that dance and there's people that don't. As it turns out, there are more ladies that dance than there are men. And then you get into stage dance and all the different kind of dances for entertainment. But a lot of it is related to couple dancing and ballet. I could go on with that. And that's not the point.
What did you think of, probably, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago? Some of the churches would have a dance group, and I don't remember, scriptural dance or something, or they would interpret
Interpretive dancing.
Interpretive dancing, is that what it was called? I haven't kept up with it. I don't know. Do they still do that?
Oh yes,
Do they? Do some churches have a dance group?
they have special people that's all they do is go from church to church, and they are the program. And then they do. You can call it gospel dance. You can call it religious dance, but there's all different categories, even in that part of music and dance.
So it's kind of a therapy, spiritual therapy, even to see a musical vision of what someone feels when they've heard that particular scripture or something like that.
With my stage experience that I've had in directing shows, I've had several ministers that participated in the plays themselves and the musicals. And when we had special music programs, not necessarily a religious program, ministers were members of the choir. We've sung in quartets together with ministers. So there's life is connected to religion, and life is connected to God, and it is what a person chooses to do. And I choose to dance with God, and I think that dancing with God is just a tremendous message.
The message of following. Let God lead you. I have trouble, and I think some of the other women in class have trouble letting their man lead.
Oh yes.
But one day you said it's the job of the man to make the woman he's dancing with look good.
Let me interrupt just a minute on that score. Rick, I had all the members of the dance class fill out what they like best about dancing and what they've learned. And you know what Rick answered? Is making my partner look good. That was his answer and what he liked best about dancing. And that's what you were just referring to, is it is to make your partner, the man should make his partner look good. It's about her in the dance.
And actually, we get so many, we dance every weekend somewhere. And people say, oh, I just love to watch the two of you dance. And we love to dance. We're out there thinking about our steps, and or I'm thinking about what's he going to do next, or what are we going to do next? And sometimes, most of the time, we get it right. The other night, he made a move, and I thought it was opposite of what he did. So we just started giggling, and everybody, they just didn't know what we had done. They knew we were having fun, even though we had knew that we had made a mistake, but they enjoyed just our camaraderie, our fun that we're having, and they participate by watching, and they do. I see some of them. They look like they're watching.
in class, Shelby, have you ever heard me say, dance as if no one is watching?
Yes.
I've said that many times. Another one that I always say is, don't be too hard on yourself, because when you're taking a dance class, you're learning new steps, new moves, new motions, new feeling, and learning how to make your partner look good. So those are things connected to life, and dance are connected. And speaking for our mates, my wife and I have danced literally all over the world, because we've danced overseas. We've danced in probably every state over the years. And she's a tremendous dancer. She's just really good. And I like to show her off. I like
make her look good.
Make her look good. and she is. She is that. So you can see how this pattern follows life and dancing with God. Because if you're following your religion, whatever it may be, and dancing is included, put them together and keep God in your dance. I do have.
You get carried away with the music, and it can carry you, and you don't even know, well, how did I do that? I didn't know how to do that stuff, but that was pretty good. That could have been God leading us for that moment, right?
Oh, yes. I think God leads us in many moments of many things that we do. In music, God's got to be leading you in your music on the piano.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and my eyes are failing, and it's getting harder, like you say, to see those notes and know what to play. And I keep thinking, well, how much longer can I do this? I don't know, but I would really hate to give up my playing, because I really do enjoy that.
Well, I got to mention one thing with what you said.
Okay.
Look at all these wrinkles,
Mm-hmm.
gray hair, balding head. My skin sags, and every time I look in the mirror, I see this.
Yeah. Who is that?
This horrible image.
Yeah.
And yet I don't feel that way. But you're right. I'm losing my eyesight, losing my memory. My hearing, fortunately, is still pretty good. But I'm losing my voice. It's hard to sing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I did cure part of it. You want to know how?
How?
I quit looking in the mirror.
Well, it's a good thing you don't have to put makeup on, lipstick. It's very hard to do that without looking in the mirror. But yeah, in the dance of surrendering, we're invited to let go of our own plans and desires and fully trust God in His perfect will for our lives. And it's a beautiful and freeing experience to surrender to the rhythm of God's grace and God's love, and allow Him to work through us. And that's exactly with the dance. We allow our partner to lead, if we're a woman. And if the man is, then he's got quite a role that's going on in that head. What am I doing? What can I do next? What should I do next?
He has to he has to choreograph as he goes.
Right. Yeah. You think of the man as the choreographer. That's right. But it says through movement and expression, we can release our worries and fears and allow God to work in and through us as we surrender to His will.
That's well said. And the dance class that I teach for the senior citizens for COA, it's called Movement, Music, and Memories. So it isn't just all dancing.
Mm-hmm.
And for senior citizens, they move a lot different than they did when they were younger. So you have to adjust your dancing as well as your movements and and you don't adjust your memories because they are what they are.
Right, they are, and it does. It's amazing how one line in music or something somebody says and can bring back a memory that you hadn't even thought about in years and years. It brings it all back to that. So we had did we get down to that?
Yes.
Part?
Yes.
Okay.
This kind of wraps up the reading.
Okay. Well, we've got another 10-15 minutes if we want to wait a little bit for that and do it. I had a question for you, but did I ask it if God were to teach us a dance? Which dance would it be? I think I asked you, but I don't think you answered.
Well, I didn't answer because I don't really have an answer for that. I don't know. You ask the question again. If
God were to teach us a dance, a particular dance, what do you think it would be like? The dance, not necessarily what's the pattern, but what do you think it would be like? Like, I think of when I read this, I thought ballet. ballet, a lot of the ballet is peaceful, uh, thought-provoking maybe, allows you to be calm sometimes. And then, depending on the music. But I think of peace, I guess, when I think of ballet. It's just so beautiful and just moves with the music so well.
Well, there's a time for every kind of dance there is.
Mm-hmm.
And what God may teach us to dance is the dance that are most important to Him in our lives. And as many things that He teaches us, it's hard to understand.
Mm-hmm.
And even the Bible contradicts itself in many places. And that's not taking punches at the scriptures. I believe them, and I believe in God, and I believe all that. But as far as what He would teach us in dancing is all related to the Lord of the dance.
Mm-hmm.
And He does in Psalms and in many ways teach us not only to dance, but to sing and to follow Jesus. So I guess my answer is I don't know what God would teach us.
Okay. You don't think He would teach us peace or calm?
Well,
I mean,
that's part of life.
A lot of time, yeah, well, you may go along and your life is fine, it's moving along, and all of a sudden something isn't right. Well, then my first thought is to pray, God, help me through this, But when I was going along happy and all of that, I wasn't so much thinking about God. I should have been. I was thankful for the good things, right? But it's when the sad times come along that
Yeah, it's tough. We're doing a thing in Bible class right now that has to do with an expression that a minister used was, when is a time in your life that you thought that Jesus was asleep at the wheel?
I'd be interested in hearing about that.
Well, there were a lot of interesting answers, but I chose not to answer it as if he was sleeping at the wheel. I don't know whether he is ever sleeping at the wheel, but he certainly throws things at you in life that you wonder. A lot of the people's answers was, why me?
Mm-hmm.
And they were interesting answers for what you said, but they've never asked in class. They've never asked what dance anybody thought that he would teach, but they talk about many, many things in life
Mm-hmm.
that that you can relate to dancing and dancing with God. And that's what I liked about this writing and this flyer, because it had a picture on here of a couple dancing.
Mm-hmm.
And
a beautiful picture.
It is. And our daughter, Jennifer Thomas, gave that picture to me one Christmas. And she gave also to Trudy and I. Yeah, that's it. That's the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that doesn't do it justice.
No,
it's a
I would like to
painting.
see it in color. You said it's a painting?
Oh, yeah, it's a painting by, I got the guy's name on the other side. Vetriano is his name.
Uh-huh.
And he did it in 1999, down here at the bottom.
Okay.
And he painted that in 1999. Mm-hmm. So that's how far back it goes. And he gave that. And can you read that?
Yeah, it's the name of it is Dance Me to the End of Love.
Isn't that beautiful?
Oil painting canvas by Jack Vetriano, 1999.
Dance Me to the End of Love. So you see how that God is love.
Mm-hmm.
And love is God.
Mm-hmm.
And the title of that painting is Dance Me to the End of Love. Dance Me to the End of God. Well, God never ends.
So, like the G and guidance,
Yes.
you think of
God
God, and then you
is you.
and I. So God and you and I dance.
Guidance. That's really tricky, isn't it?
It's very, very good.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I liked it so much that and it's in color. The poster itself is in color.
I like this other picture too. Let's see if I can get it up there. The one with I got my hand over it, the one on the left with looking up, standing on maybe the mountain and holding your hands up at the sky, the beautiful sky.
Hallelujah.
I have a bunch of trees in the lot line behind that divides my property from the people next door. And I love to sit there and watch the top of those trees just waving back and forth like a conductor sometimes, a choir, And when I read this, your guidance there, I don't know, and I see that picture and I think, okay, God, what are you trying to tell me? I'm listening now.
Yeah, and they don't have a caption under that picture. Whoever created this did not
but
choose
I really
to put a
like
picture
that. But so we were wondering, did you want me to read the prayer?
Yes.
If you wouldn't mind, I would like to read this little bit of a prayer.
And that's on the guidance sheet.
On the bottom of the Dancing with God literature here. My prayer for you today is that God's blessings and mercies are upon you on this day and every day. May you abide in God as God abides in you, dance together with God, and trust God to lead and to guide you through each season of your life. And if God has done something for you in your life, please share that message with someone else. Because, lots of times we hold things in, but you never know when that person sitting next to you needs to hear the message or the thought that was in your mind today.
Well, and think of the message that has to send to you with what you've been through and what your book is all about, learning to dance in the rain.
Surviving grief, that's mine certainly
grief,
did. And internet dating, which is a good thing, but it's also a curse, I think. Right. And I'm writing a book on just that particular subject, how to be successful in that. I should have it out in a few weeks, but yep. And I wanted people to think surviving grief, surviving internet dating, and then surviving romance scams. And God, yeah. Is it a religious book? Well, yeah, I'm a Christian, and but it's not thou shalt not, and
oh yes,
lording it over, because I'm learning. I'm an average person, just like most of you out there listening, and so I kind of hold my faith in, but when I could sing well and young, I thought, well, I'll sing out my praises. I will sing songs that give my message out there. I play the music and I say, please God, let someone be touched by the music that I'm playing, not because of me, but because the music you give us is beautiful.
There it is.
Mm-hmm. So I encourage the people out there to get in your Bible. One of the things I wanted to bring up earlier was when we were talking about the places in the Bible that talk about dance. And the one that came to my mind right away was Solomon. Was it King David that was out and singing and dancing, and they had the drums and all of this, and his wife scolded him for that. And I can't remember exactly whether it came out, but it came out that God, we worship God, we praise him, we thank him. So he doesn't want us to be sad all the time. Well, he wants us to be happy.
Hey, you can
And-
out there in the audience, you can look that up in the Bible. It'd be a good thing to look that up in
Right.
Solomon.
So you have a homework lesson out there. King David, I think it was, and of course Solomon was his son, but he had all those other psalms that he wrote songs and poems and so on. So I think music was a big part of their lives.
Well, at the very beginning of the program today, I mentioned secular and sacred. And, a lot of us say, well, a lot of young people say, oh, I didn't ask for this life. I didn't ask to be born. They've got a negative approach and a negative outlook, and they have to find their path, and they have to find their way to get over that.
Well, that's a gift. Yeah, you didn't ask for it, but God gave it to you.
It's a gift. Thank you for life. Yes.
And we need to appreciate that. So we're almost out of time. Is there something else you want to say before we?
I just wanted to say that that's why I mentioned what I did. I got to find this spot here. I talked about people criticizing me for being involved in dance at different times, but
about the church, I thought this was good about God being on.
Yeah,
right.
That's what I'm looking for. Worship of God. Let me get back to this. That's what I was just talking about, the secular and sacred. And at every turn of the road, you get sacred or secular in work and play and everything in between. And I found in music, laughter, singing, and serving God with prayer and helping others with dancing was a big part. And my dancing with my wife, when I dance with Trudy, she's closer to my heart in life and my lead in dancing than anyone else ever. And
that's the way it is supposed to be.
That's where it brings people together, and it's love, and love is God.
That love is God. God is love.
Yeah, read that last one.
If God, I read about that.
Yeah, did you do this?
Yeah.
Right here.
And we will continue to pray for one another.
And I hope you dance.
And I hope you dance. I want to thank you for being with us here today on Learning to Dance in the Rain. I hope that you will go on Amazon.com and get a copy of your book, of my book, Learning to Dance in the Rain. The 3rd edition is the newest one. The other 2 are out of print now. So be sure you get the 3rd edition. And I have the book called Scams also. And I have a few others that are coming. I turned them into a book series called Through It All, because it's really through life. And I had a friend once said, I didn't believe in God until I found out that was all about love. Jesus was love. He said, that's what made me a Christian, was when I found love through God and through the Bible and so on. And I appreciate being able to talk freely with Jerry. I thank Jerry for being here. And I will see you next time on Learning to Dance in the Rain. Thank you very much. Have a good week. And we'll say goodbye. You want to wait?
God's peace and love.
God's peace and love.